For about 9,000 years, cats earned their place beside us with their teeth and claws. They were not decorations. They were hunters. In the Near East, early human settlements stored grain. Grain drew rodents, and rodents drew wildcats. That simple chain helped begin one of the oldest animal partnerships in human history. Now compare that past with the modern house cat staring at an automatic feeder, waiting for a machine to drop dinner on schedule. So what changed? When did we stop letting cats do the one job that first brought them into our lives? By the end of this video, you'll know why this works and how to apply it with what you already have. The old deal between humans and cats was simple. We gave them access to shelter and food scraps near our settlements. They gave us rodent control. Research in the Near East points to cat domestication around 9,000 years ago, and the reason was practical. Cats controlled pests around human homes and food stores. This was not affection first. It was use first. That working role shaped the cat's place in human life for thousands of years. A cat that could hunt stayed alive. A cat that could not hunt had little value in a grain store, on a farm, or near supplies. Humans did not need to teach cats much. Their stalking, waiting, pouncing, and killing were already built in. Even now, that behavior is still there. Research notes show that domesticated cats still stalk and pounce, even when food is provided. This is what makes the cat story different from many other domestic animals. We changed where cats live, far more than we changed what they are. They still carry the body and mind of a small predator. Dr. Julie Busby put it plainly, cats are not tiny dogs. They have different physical requirements and instincts, and it's vital for their well-being that we understand that. For long stretches of history, that instinct was useful to us every day. Cats protected stored food. They reduced rodent pressure around homes. They traveled where rodents thrived. They were not pampered in the modern sense. They were respected because they were effective. That bond was not always stable. During the Middle Ages, from the 5th to the 15th century, cats became tied to superstition. During witch hunts, they were persecuted, and in some areas, their numbers fell. That detail matters because the human view of cats was never fixed. Cats could be treated as valued pest control, feared symbols, or companions, depending on the time and place. The next big shift came much later. In the 19th century, especially during the Victorian era, the idea of pets as companions grew stronger. This did not erase the hunting cat overnight. Barn cats still existed. Farm cats still worked. But a cultural change had started. More people began to keep animals for affection, not only for labor. The cat's job description was starting to blur. Then the 20th century changed everything. Research points to urbanization in the mid-20th century as a major turning point. As people moved into more crowded cities, cats moved into smaller homes and apartments. The old environment that made hunting useful began to disappear. Fewer families relied on a cat to guard grain stores or barns. More families kept cats inside, close, and under direct human care. Once a cat lives indoors, the old hunting contract breaks down fast. An indoor cat cannot patrol fields or barns. It cannot roam docks or chase rats from storage spaces. It can only stare through glass, wait at doors, and react to moving shadows in the living room. The cat's instincts stay active, but the world around the cat no longer gives those instincts a job. This was also the period when feeding changed from a daily practical task to a full consumer system. The user prompt points to the industrial rise of commercial pet food in the 1950s, and that fits the larger shift already underway. Convenience replaced the old pattern. Instead of cats finding much of their own prey, humans began taking full control of feeding. Once food became regular, packaged, and easy to serve, dependence on hunting dropped even more. That change did not stay small. According to the American Pet Products Association, the United States had about 94.2 million pet cats in 2022. That is an enormous population of predators living under human care. At that scale, how cats are fed and where they are allowed to roam becomes more than a personal choice. It becomes an ecological issue. This is where the modern story turns darker. We did not stop letting cats hunt only because we grew sentimental. We also stopped because cats are extremely good at killing wildlife. A study published in Nature Communications in 2013 estimated that outdoor cats kill 1.3 to 4 billion birds and 6.3 to 22.3 billion small mammals each year in the United States. Those are not small figures. They are hard to ignore. This is now the mainstream view among many wildlife groups. The Association of Fish and Wildlife Agencies has highlighted the ecological damage linked to outdoor cats. The ASPCA supports responsible pet ownership and indoor-only living for cats in order to protect wildlife. More cities and organizations have pushed indoor living for the same reason. That challenges a common belief many cat owners still hold, which is that a well-fed pet cat will only hunt a little or only hunt pests. The evidence does not support that comforting idea. The research shows that cats still display hunting behavior even when they are already fed. Hunger is not the only trigger. Movement, instinct, and opportunity matter too. There is still another side to this debate. Some people argue that outdoor access supports a cat's mental health because hunting is natural behavior. Animal behaviorists have also argued that cats kept indoors without enough stimulation can become bored or destructive. That warning should not be dismissed. If we take away hunting, we cannot act surprised when a cat tries to invent a substitute by attacking ankles, shredding furniture, or racing through the house at midnight. So the real question is not whether the cat still wants to hunt. It does. The question is whether we can let it hunt freely without causing other harm. For many owners, the answer has become no. There is a second reason, and it is brutally simple. Freedom is dangerous. According to the research provided, outdoor cats face cars, poisons, predators, and diseases. The American Veterinary Medical Association notes that indoor cats have a lower risk of diseases such as feline leukemia virus and feline immunodeficiency virus, which are more common in outdoor cats. That means the hunting life is not only hard on birds and small mammals. It is hard on cats. The user prompt frames the contrast clearly. Outdoor hunting cats average only 2 to 5 years, while indoor cats fed by humans can live up to 15 years or more. That is the price of freedom in very plain numbers. The cat gets risk, conflict, infection, and injury. The indoor cat gets safety and time. By the 2020s, this had become a policy issue as well as a personal one. National Geographic reported that in 2022, outdoor cat policy was implemented in various municipalities across the United States to reduce feral cat populations and encourage spay and neuter programs. That shows how far the shift has gone. Cats are no longer seen only as private pets or useful mousers. They are now part of public debates about wildlife, public responsibility, and urban animal management. So why did we stop letting cats hunt their own food? Because the world that first welcomed the hunting cat is mostly gone. The grain store became the apartment kitchen. The farm edge became the city block. The useful mouser became the companion animal. And once millions of cats lived inside human homes, feeding them ourselves became normal. We also stopped because hunting by domestic cats carries a cost that modern societies are less willing to accept. Nature Communications gave the scale in the United States. Billions of birds, billions of small mammals. Wildlife agencies noticed, cities noticed, owners noticed. And we stopped because the hunter's life is dangerous for the hunter too. Cars do not care that a cat is acting on ancient instinct. Disease does not reward natural behavior. Predators and poison do not spare a beloved pet. That leaves us with a strange modern cat. Safe, fed, loved, and still wired like a killer from 9,000 years ago. We removed the job, but not the engine behind it. That is why indoor cat care cannot stop at food and shelter. If hunting behavior is still hardwired, then play is not a luxury. It is replacement work. A feather toy can become simulated prey. A moving lure can trigger stalking and pouncing. An interactive feeder can make a cat search, paw, and solve before eating. These are not silly extras. They are ways to give an old predator some version of its original task without sending it out to damage wildlife or risk its life. The oldest deal between cats and humans has changed, but it has not disappeared. We still provide the food. We still shape the territory. The difference is that now we must also supply the challenge that hunting once gave them for free. So if your cat lives indoors, look at it for what it is. Not a tiny dog, not a furry ornament. A small predator with ancient instincts living in a modern box. The real question is no longer whether we should let cats hunt their own food. It is whether we are giving them anything worthy to do instead. How do you keep your indoor apex predator busy, sharp, and satisfied?